Yeah, we also have. Oh, he already ate it. Have we sort of did it before?
Oh, there you go. Enough of them. They're the 479.
In a different state.
So, actually, my 9-year-old. 2 weeks. Yes, because his name tag was today. Okay. Yes. So, just need you guys to we go boy girl.
So we have
9, 7, 5. Oh, so you had a little sandwich.
All right, guys, we're gonna get started. Is everyone signed in? All right. Welcome, everyone. I hope you're feeling happy now. You got some pizza and settled in, and I think pretty much everyone in here is new. Everyone's new. Yes, looking around. Okay. I'll kind of start, and we're going to do some quick introductions, one person per family. This is the group you guys are going to go through the training with, so get to know each other, and when it's all said and done, maybe you can use each other for respite or just extra support. I'll start. I'm the teacher. All of you guys, I think I've toured every single one of you. That era is about to be over, and so Jana's going to be taking over once I go on maternity leave. And I've been here for 5 years. I love it. I will continue to work here part-time, so I'll be working with you guys. That reminds me, I should probably make sure my phone's on silence too. Yes, so I'll still be seeing you guys around, like for lunch, and once you get your placements, I'll see you, and I'll probably even be handling some of your auditing, making sure your files are in good tip-top shape. So I'll see you. So anyway, like I said, I've been here for 5 years, and that's my story. I'm from Mississippi, and this is our first baby, and my husband and I, we do our heart is also to foster one day as well, so that is our goal. So I definitely love working with you folks, and because of you, these kids who come to us have a port in a storm. They have a family who can love them and kind of be there for them in a desperate time of need. So thank you for doing this. And we'll kind of start over here with the Lewises.
My name is Melissa. This is my husband, Ryan. We've been married 3 years. No other children. This will be our first, so we're super excited and excited to meet you all.
This is Kwok with a K, and that's my wife, Kristen. This is our first time that in foster care, and we don't have
Not really.
kids yet.
We did kinship care before.
Yeah. We don't have kids yet, so maybe in the future. Yeah.
Oh, tell us what age range you guys are open for right now.
We're looking for birth to 3.
Okay, and then you guys.
We're looking for about school age kids. Yeah.
And up.
Okay.
the Moses. I'm Jessica, and this is my husband Garrett. We have one daughter. She's 13 months old, and we are 5 to 12, I think. Is what, yeah, 5 to 12.
Great.
I'm Megan, and this is my husband Mike. This is our first time fostering. We don't have any children of our own, but we are open to 5 and up.
And I'm Dylan. This is Deborah Newman. And we have 3, 8, 7, and 4. And yeah, trying to keep them straight. And the age we're going to foster is really 5 up. So
we're the Andersons, Jansen and Stephanie. And yeah, we are looking for 12 months and
You have 5 kiddos, right?
we do.
Got 5 sweet ones.
Wow.
What are their ages?
11, 9, 7, 4, and 2.
Okay. Thank you. Littles?
I'm Tina, this is my husband, Greg. This is our first time fostering. We do have 5 kids of our own. They're 12. We have triplets that are 11 and 9. We're doing school age.
Hi, we're the Bride and Box. I'm Michael. This is my wife, Erin. We have 1 child. She's 6, and we're looking to adopt, foster to adopt, and we're looking for ages from 0 to 2. And this is our first time doing this. We're really excited.
Hi, we're the Nesters. I'm Katie. This is Tim. We also have 5 kids, and they're almost 11. We adopted a little guy from Ethiopia in 2010, so we've been through the international adoption process. He's 8.5. We have twins who are 7, almost 7, and then a 5-year-old girl. And we're looking for under 5.
All right, we're Justin and Kylie Wood. We have 4 kids also, 9, 7, 2, and 6 months. And we're looking to adopt or foster 0 to 3 months. Or 0 to 3, excuse me.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for being here, and thank you for sharing. And so this is your first class, and this is, you will hear us all say this. This is probably one of the most painful classes. No, I'm just kidding. It's just a lot of what we're going to go over today, full disclosure, I do not expect you to remember it all. A lot of it you will learn as you apply it with your first placement. Your home supervisor will walk you through all the paperwork, and your home supervisor is, we're licensed by the state, so our job is to ensure that you're implementing the rules and regulations that the state requires the foster parents in your home. So your home supervisor will kind of help you along the way, remember what those rules are. And so, we do acknowledge the fact that you're not, if you guys do leave here remembering everything, I will be extremely fascinated. But we're all human, and so I don't expect it. So don't leave with a huge headache and trying to remember this. Even with me saying that, I don't want this also to be taken with a grain of salt. It is super, super important that you acknowledge and you follow everything that we ask you to follow verbatim. This is for your protection. This is for the protection of the child in your home. It's really important. And it's not a suggestion. It's an absolute requirement. All of this that we're going over today, okay? And as we go through the paperwork today, I want you guys to engage. I want you to ask questions along the way. Probably the questions you guys are thinking of, other people are wanting to know too. So, be there for each other and ask, okay? And plus, it kind of makes it super boring if you don't engage, so please help me out in that sense. We'll go over the first part. So you'll see 2 different of the same forms here, paper clipped together, the color copies and the black and white copies. these forms, the black and white copies are just for your records, so store those away. And then the color copy is what we need you to fill out before the end of the class, turn in. So we'll take a quick break halfway through the class, and so you can fill these out, or you can do it at the end of the class, whatever floats your boat. Okay? So we're going to set those aside for right now. The next section is this master binder. You see this thick paper clip stack here? This is what we're going to go over today. These are all the forms that you will need as you have your placements. I kind of tell foster parents, best practice, keep, master binder copy, and that way you can make copies at home of the forms. We also, how many of you guys have printers at home? Almost pretty much everyone. Okay, so we have on our website, there's the forms you can print from there as well, so that's probably easier, or if you can copy these, or your home supervisor can bring blank copies out for you. Okay. And then whenever you get placements and you're filling out these forms, you can keep a binder per kid or placement that you have, just to kind of help keep organized. Do we have any type A personalities in here who are all about the paperwork? One, just two of you guys? Seriously? Oh, we're in for a long night. Oh gosh. Okay, well, hang in there, guys. All right, so flip to the first page in this master binder. This is a breakdown of what we're going to go over today. So the first section is the initial paperwork. This is the paperwork that has to be completed within 24 hours of placement. So when children are initially placed in your home, it can be a whirlwind, right? And so this is the paperwork that has to be filled out for every single placement you get. The exception to this section, by the way, is if you're respite providers, which I don't think we have any sole respite providers in here. Nope. You're all open for placements. But just know if you do respite for each other, you don't do any of this paperwork, okay? So the first section, you have the first form that's in here, the emergency drill log. And you'll kind of see through here, each month has a different type of drill. We'll kind of go over that more in depth in another section. So let's say you got a placement in March. Even though it says flood, try to do a fire drill, because a fire is probably the most common type of emergency that occurs in a home, right? And with a new kiddo, not knowing their environment coming into your home, it's really good to kind of show them, this is, in case of an emergency, this is how we get out of the house, and this is where we meet. This has to be done within 24 hours. Obviously, if the kid comes in at like 2 in the morning, you're not going to want to do it at 3 in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, you could do it the next evening or something. So just do it within that 24 hours. So you see here, there's a place for the dates, participants and their ages. You'll see the plan of escape, the meeting place, and then the start and end time. Any questions about this form? Okay. All right. I'm going to move on. Okay, so the next form is the admission inventory. This is a kind of a checklist of to help keep documentation of what the child comes into your home with. A lot of us, on our tour, we've talked about the fact that kids come into care, they don't come with anything. If they do, it's very little. A lot of the times, it'll just be a trash bag of random stuff. And it could be a trash bag of stuff that doesn't fit, or stuff that may include like mom's undergarment or a random left shoe, because if you think about it, in the frantic moment of removal and you have an upset biological parent, they really aren't thinking coherently enough. Maybe they are, maybe they're not, but a lot of times they're just kind of shoving whatever they can in a bag if they do that much, and so even though if it's not relevant, just still document it. Even if it's in poor condition, there's, you'll see here where it says quantity, color, size, and the condition. You can put poor, fair, excellent condition. There's a place for miscellaneous items. And then at the bottom, you see a part where it says youth signature and witness signature. Your witness. So you're witnessing what's coming into your home. The youth signature is the child. So obviously, if the child's a baby, they're not going to sign it. So you just put too young. If they're old enough to write their name and, comprehend what's going on, they can sign saying like, yep, this is the stuff that came in with me, kind of stuff. Any questions about this? Yes?
Great timing. Is there anything that they're not allowed to bring in? So, like maybe they bring like a switchblade, and you say you can't have that. You keep it and put it like in a lockbox, or do you get rid of it?
Yep. You can give it back to the caseworker, which is the same thing that goes for anything that's not of relevance to the child in regards to like the left shoe or mom's undergarment or clothes that don't fit. Sometimes things can be a security, like if there's like a tethered blanket or something that's in there, you can ask the kid about it and say, like, is this what you want? Like, just to kind of double check. But things that are unsafe for them, they will go back to the caseworker, or you can let your home supervisor know. Yeah. Any other questions regarding this?
Will there be like a list of prescription medications that they're allowed to have?
Yeah, I was wondering if that was going to come up. That's why I was kind of stopping there. Yeah, great, good job. So with medication, typically if the child comes with medication, there will be instructions, or known relevance to why that child's on that medication. And so then you put it in your medication cabinet, the locked box. Oh, shoot. Should we go over that? We'll go over that in a second. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Will it come with like certain paperwork they have, like if they already have like an insurance card or things like that?
And honestly, in emergency situations, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of any of that kind of stuff. If it's a transitional placement, if it's a kid coming from another foster home, they would come with like Medicaid information and all that. But oftentimes when kids enter into your home in an emergency, especially in the middle of the night, you won't get any kind of Medicaid information until, within 48 business hours.
Oh, and then the case manager might get that?
Yeah, your home supervisor will be able to provide that to you. Yep. Do you guys, real fast, do you see a checklist in your packet? Not this packet, but aside from the master binder packet, there should be a checklist that says how to prepare your home for a facility check. Do you see that? So sorry, it's a bit out of sorts, but I just want to, you will take this home. This is to help you prepare your home for when you get to the home study process. These are the things to implement in your home. I keep saying home a lot, I'm sorry. To prepare it to child-proof it and everything. So go home, read this, call me if you have questions, email me if you have questions, okay? All right, are you guys ready to get back to the packet? Okay, I just wanted to mention that. Sorry, I meant to put that in the front of the master binder. All right, so the next form we have the foster children's rights. This is a summary of what the foster kids are entitled to when they come into your home. So real quick, read through it and let me know if you have any questions.
Corresponding and communicating.
Any questions so far? Yes.
So it does say in here that you have to adhere to their right to their religion. Now, if we get a child that's only one, are we allowed to bring a child with us to church, or if the parents, the actual biological parents that have religious beliefs, do we have to adhere to those religious beliefs and make sure that you're actually taking them to a different kind of church to make sure? Is that what that means?
Yeah, basically, the child or the parent have the rights to say what kind of church they want to go, that child needs to go to, and you as foster parents are to follow that. Now, me saying that, sometimes we do get foster parents like where the foster dad's a pastor. They're not able to accommodate that religious preference for a child, and so then we will have to look at another family who can accommodate that. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay. What are some other questions you guys have? Yes.
It talked about the right to make telephone calls in private. And I'm just wondering if, because in certain situations it could be dangerous depending on...
Well, that's in correspondence with the treatment team to ensure that it's a safe option for the child. So if we have a child who parents aren't being emotionally... if they're not being safe with the child, if they have to be supervised visits because they're not being appropriate with the child through their communication, or even physically, if they're physically abusive, there's a good chance that if there's a good chance that they're going to be abusive towards them over the phone, we would never want to put a child in that unsafe circumstance.
So there's certain circumstances.
Right, there has to be approval by the team.
So telephone would be like cell phone?
Mm-hmm.
Or like
Cell phone, letters, communication over the computer, anything like that.
it to be private, so we cannot monitor that.
Well, it depends. If it's private, that has to be, approved by the caseworker and the GAL, guardian ad litem. Excuse me.
With the older children, I know some kids get social media at a really young age. How do we handle their social media accounts?
Well, yes. So, obviously, kids are pretty tricky these days, right? And so you do the best you can as a parent. And you utilize your home supervisor and the treatment team to kind of help you navigate that as it becomes an issue. Yeah, unfortunately, kids are so tech savvy these days, and there's school, and you can access, your friend's phone at school and get on Facebook, or you can go to the library if they're not being properly supervised. Unfortunately, that's one of those things in nowadays world that we can't control, and so we just do the best we can to navigate it with the help of the treatment team.
So that's not like a right that they have to at home, that they have to...
Like social media and stuff?
Access, like, Facebook and stuff like that? Okay. So we can monitor and work.
Yeah.
I guess with that, with social media, if we do allow them, and it's like I guess it would be up to the team, but I know we are not allowed to post pictures of the children. Are they allowed to post pictures of themselves on if they have?
If it's their own account, right? Yeah. If they're allowed access, right? Yep. That's different. Are we? Yeah.
It says something about spending a reasonable amount of his or her own money. Is that part of the subsidy?
Allowance. They're supposed to have allowance. Yep, and that paperwork you're going to fill out, there's an allowance agreement, and it'll walk you through what the expectations are for allowance. You as a parent, you are responsible. Yeah, so reimbursement or, your own pay. It's just like they would be your own child, basically, but a little different because there's some expectations. Yep, I know. We have foster parents who don't give their own kiddos allowances, but foster kids do have to have it. Yeah.
So the foster kid could be giving allowance while we're still not giving our own kids allowance.
Yes.
That'll go over well.
Yeah.
Yep.
No matter what age?
Yeah, there's an allowance agreement. Maybe you guys, we'll let you go over it on a break, and then we could talk about the allowance thing, okay? So we'll have you go through the allowance agreement on the break, and then we'll talk about it. Okay? All right, are we ready to move on to the next form? Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yes?
So what happened if some of the rights is...
Violated?
Yeah.
Well, it depends. It could lead to the child, if it's severe enough, it can lead to the child being removed. It could be a simple conversation that your home supervisor will have with you about it. It just depends on the severity. If we have a foster family who's clearly preventing a foster kid from being able to talk to a home supervisor or caseworker or anyone they're entitled to talk to, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
At the bottom of this form, you see foster parent signature, right? And then child signature. The same thing applies as the admission inventory. If they're old enough, have them sign. If not, too young, just write too young. All right, the next form is the child admission checklist. This is kind of a rundown of what we just went over, and then a little bit more. And this is per child, of course, but you'll do a tour of the foster home, right? You'll do that with any kiddo that's placed in your home. Just so the first night, it's good to kind of show them where's the kitchen, where's the bathroom, so they're familiar with their environment, kind of help put that nervousness a bit at ease about where they're at. And then there's instructions of fire safety. That's the emergency drill you'll do. Review of house rules and discipline. I sent all of you guys emails about the house rules. If you haven't gotten it to me yet, get it to me soon. And then it's good to talk to the kids about the rules and the expectation if they break the rules. Just because a lot of times kids come from environments where discipline is really harsh. Maybe, we will teach them, like, if you're hungry, you ask, you're welcome to snacks, but maybe where they come from, going in the fridge meant that they were going to be locked in their room the entire day. Or maybe they get spanked with a belt or something, or kneel on rice, so you just never know. And so they might not know what to expect coming into your home if they break the rule. And sometimes even having gentle rules and just knowing, okay, they're not harsh. They won't be so mean to me if I need to go to the bathroom for the third time in the hour. You know what I mean? It's just, you just never know what these kids go through, and so it's just good to kind of give them that baseline. The next thing, review the child's rights. It's the thing we just went over. Completion of the belonging inventory, and then the last two things, so receipt of authorization for medical care from the caseworker. This is we call it the medical authorization form, and it's the one that has the Medicaid number that you will get within 48 business hours, and it states that you as foster parents have the right to meet the basic medical needs of a child. This meaning going to doctor's appointments, dentist, vision, any of that. This does not include immunizations. It does not include invasive surgeries, any kind of sedation or anesthesia. You will need an additional consent for those things, okay? And we'll get into that in a minute. Yeah.
You said we'll get into it.
No, go for it.
So we need to put the child on our plan.
No, Medicaid. They get Medicaid.
I'm sorry.
Yes, so they get a Medicaid number. If they're in the custody of the county, they automatically get Medicaid.
One more question.
Sure.
While it's fresh in my mind, but I have a friend, a very dear friend. He's fostered some children, and we want to treat the child like their family. Is there anything wrong with, even while we're just foster parents, introducing, oh, hey, who's, just by casual conversation, who's this young lady, and just say, this is our son or this is our daughter?
Yeah.
Is there anything wrong with that?
No, not at all. Because, you don't want to make them feel so excluded, right? And so we totally understand that. On the flip side, though, however, kind of a touchy thing can be these kids will come into your home, and when you take them to a visit with their birth parents and they're calling you mom and dad, that can really upset parents. So do at least try to, on the front end, say, you know, what would you like to call me, and give them kind of some options, like you call me Aunt so-and-so, you call me Mr. so-and-so. And if they insist on calling you mom and dad, then, you know, I mean, you've done what you can, honestly. And it's a need that they have that you're filling for them. And so that in particular we'll get more into in the attachment, trauma, and loss class as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so medical authorization form, and then the health passport. The health passport is basically, it's a red binder, and it's a summary, a history of the child's medical past medical appointments or any past allergies they've been known to have. You're not going to honestly get this very often, and especially in emergency situations. And so you as a foster parent, we will teach you how to kind of keep that updated as they're placed in your home. So we'll get into that in a couple sections. Any questions about that? Okay, moving on. The last form in this section, the foster child permission form. This is a rundown of just different activities and things that you need approval to do. You know, we put this in the initial paperwork because, you know, as soon as you get your kid, you're so eager and you're excited and you want to go on outings, you want to go hiking, you want to do all these fun things, but we got to make sure we get permission first. And it's pretty easy. It's not, I mean, we could send the form to the caseworker and or parents can fill it out accordingly and then get it back to us as soon as possible. Yeah.
So every time you take a hike, you can get it really quick, because I know there's
No, this is an overall blanket permission. So once you get permission for hiking on this, you can go hiking anytime.
So if we could check off like everything, then we could just make
Yeah.
sure that we get it done.
Yeah. Melissa, did you have a question?
Yeah, I think I answered it in here though. Going out of state, you
Uh-huh.
just need to get additional permission.
Yes. Yeah. Well, going out of state, yeah, you'll need to get court permission for that. Out of county, you'll need casework, GAL permission for that.
We're going to California in September.
Uh-huh. So you'll need yep, definitely get permission.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions? Really? No? Yeah?
How long, can the parents take as long as they want to decide if they can do these activities, or is there a certain?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess they could, but it's usually not an issue. Mhm. Good, are we good? Moving on? All right, section 2. This is the initial medical paperwork. All right, so when kids are initially placed in your home, there's a couple of things that have to happen. We want to get them checked and make sure they're healthy. You know, we want to see if there are any issues that we address them. You know, these kids are neglected severely a lot of the times, and so there's no telling when the last time they've even seen a doctor. So this first form is the initial physical form, and a physical has to be completed within 2 weeks of placement. My piece of advice to you guys, even though getting a placement can be quite a whirlwind, make this a priority the first day or two. Call doctors. It could be kind of overwhelming, the idea of calling Medicaid providers. It's forever changing the list. My recommendation to you guys is utilize our community. You know, when you get certified officially, you will be asked to join our Facebook closed group, right? We've all talked about that, I think. And there you can ask other foster parents about which pediatrician they use. Or if you have a pediatrician, a lot of times, not a lot of times, but it seems like a good chunk of time, pediatricians will accept foster kids with Medicaid if they've had a relationship with you for a while. Yes, ma'am.
What if we have a baby and then, they have a million shots in that first year? How would they know if it's not the same insurance as what they have? Or if they didn't go at all?
Right. That's hard. It's really hard with immunizations to know. So with that, some doctors kind of have in-house record system, maybe they can pull it. If not, then my understanding is we just have to wait until we can get that history from birth parents. Yeah. So what do we do if we can't get an appointment within 2 weeks? Because Medicaid providers they can take a long time. Well, in that manner, make a few phone calls and try to find someone to schedule it the soonest. And you see this part up here in the, I guess, the right-hand corner where it says date appointment made. If that's within the first few days of placement and it shows that you've made an appointment that day, like if you got a placement today and then you made it on February 6th or 7th, that shows the state that you at least made the effort. Even though the appointment was a month out, you still made the effort to do it as soon as possible, and so they're going to be fine with that. Now if that date's 2 weeks from placement and you're just now making it, I mean, that's kind of a big deal. We want to show the state you're actually making an effort to meet the requirements. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So if they're going through this, this next form here is the over-the-counter medication form. It goes with the physical. So when you go and you take kids to get their initial physical completed, you'll take this form to get a blanket permission for certain medications. You are not allowed at all to give foster kids medication unless it's approved by a doctor. And this includes anything like Motrin. If they have a cold, they come into your home, and we understand like this happens sometimes when a kid comes into your home and they're sick and they need Motrin. You will need to run them down to urgent care real fast to get doctor's permission to at least get that. Yep. Diaper rash cream, cold medicine, yep, any of that.
You need permission.
Yeah.
Permission to use diaper rash cream?
Yes. Yep. Because some kids come and do it. I'm sorry.
Not regular lotion?
No, actually, I don't think so. I think if it's scented, maybe, but in multivitamins, you will need a permission for. Kids, they've been known to be allergic to certain diaper rash cream. So if you're getting the doctor's permission, they end up breaking out. It doesn't fall on you as a responsibility.
Is this something the doctor fills out?
Yes. Yep.
Can we just have them like fill it all out?
Yep. So typically, waiting a couple weeks until the kid is seen by the pediatrician for their physical, knock on wood, you can wait to give them medicine. But if they do end up getting sick before you're able to get their physical done, as we tell you guys to go to urgent care and just have them seen so you can get that permission. Yes.
So anything that's even naturopathic herbal remedies, or is that okay?
I think it depends on what you're talking about. Like even like essential oils, yes, you have to get permission for that kind of stuff too, to rub it on their body. Yep.
What about like coconut oil?
My understanding is not like coconut oil and stuff. But all right, moving on. Dental form. You have more grace and time frame to get this completed. 8 weeks within placement to get this done. Of course, if you have a baby who comes in and the poor thing's in a lot of pain and they have bottle rot teeth or something, like try to do it sooner than later, of course. But otherwise, a typical dental checkup, you have 8 weeks to get it done. Okay? Yes, sir.
When the social workers bring the kids by, is there ever a situation where they're like, yeah, they were just with a foster family 2 months ago and all this got done, so you don't have to do it this time, or is it 100% of the time?
Well, if they left care and went back home and came back, you'll still have to redo it. Okay. And I will say, yeah, no, that's correct. That is, yeah. So if they leave care and they come back, you'll have to redo it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Is there for the dental exam, like if they don't have teeth, if they're an infant?
Oh, yes, thank you for bringing that up. 3 and older typically will need a dentist appointment. If they're like 1 and they have teeth and you could see bottle rot or something, go ahead and make the appointment. But otherwise, 3 is the expected age. Thank you. Good? We got a dentist in the room, so what do you think? Do you see kiddos younger than 3? Yeah.
What is bottle rot? I deal with it.
Do you want to answer that? What's bottle rot?
So, children who are put to bed with a bottle, sometimes will get really bad decay.
Yeah. And I think it's, if I understand correctly, it's the breakdown of the sugar that's in the milk that causes the bottle rot, right?
Yeah. Or Mountain Dew. Or
Yes, juices and their sippy cups and Cokes, yeah. Being from Mississippi, people did that a lot down there. It's really bad. Okay, other questions about the dental appointments?
Questions about Mississippi, but otherwise.
Find me after class. I'll tell you all about it. Okay.
I have one of my best friends is from Mississippi.
Oh, nice. What part?
I know it's a really small area. Where's the area from? What's the little area? It's not too
It's probably up north
like
somewhere.
New Orleans and stuff.
Oh, I'm from the coast. It's not far from New Orleans. Yeah. I worked hard not to. Okay. All right, so we have the initial vision form here, and this is to be completed within 8 weeks of placement. This is only necessary if the pediatrician recommends it, because if you saw on the initial physical form, there was a part that says, is optometry exam recommended, yes or no. If they circle yes, obviously you'll schedule the vision. If they don't circle anything, you still have to schedule it. So unless they circle no, count on scheduling. No, because we have babies who will run into walls and we don't figure out until we put little cute glasses on them that their vision's off. Yeah. All right, section 3. This is monthly paperwork. This is expected at your home visit the month after. So if you get a home visit in March, we will collect February's paperwork. Does that make sense? All right, so this is an example of the different types of drills here. Can someone please tell me, where do you meet for a fire drill? Where's a typical place to meet?
Mailbox.
Mailbox, thank you. Outside, right. Okay, flood. Upstairs, high elevation, right. Fire. Wait, I already talked fire. Tornado. Basement. Okay. I know this seems kind of silly, me asking this, but believe it or not, we've had people who don't quite know what to do in certain drills. So I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, that you know the proper places to meet. And again, this, and the reason why it's broken up this way, the state requires that you do so many of these 3 types of drills throughout the year, so we just kind of break them up to the typical season of what to expect those emergencies in.
Our house is nowhere near any type of water. We're still gonna.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
What about tornado drills and a lack of basement?
So a place would be like a bathroom with no windows or a hallway with no windows, something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Assuming, yeah. Eat some snacks, just chill out, just wait for the no. Yeah.
How often do we do these drills?
You actually have to do a drill every single month. So you have to do them every single month.
What if it doesn't fit in this tiny thing? With all of us who have 5 kids.
Oh, yes, actually, I was just going to bring that up. So the important thing to know, obviously try to do as many drills with everyone as much as possible, but we know that, one foster parent might work and the one might stay at home. So if they miss it every once in a blue moon, or if your kids are out, it's okay. The important thing is every single foster child in your home participates every single month with at least one foster parent. Does that make sense?
I just meant writing it down here, just attach it.
Oh, because you have a million kids. Okay, I see. So, it's kind of, I'm glad you actually brought that up, because it's kind of hard to fit everything on this. If you want to do 1 drill per page and turn it in every month, that's okay. You can do that. That's fine. Yeah. Does that answer your question? Does that answer your question? Okay. All right. The next thing is monthly progress notes. This is again per child. So if you have 2 different placements in your home, you'll fill these forms out per child. Okay. This is a rundown of what's going well and what's not going well each month. How are they progressing emotionally, academically, physically, developmentally, spiritually, any way possible you can think. And what are your concerns for that child as well each month? Where it says medical appointments were, just summarize, just say like dentist appointment on this date, whatever. I tell people, please be diligent in filling these out. I know you're going to be busy and we get it, and it could be a whirlwind when you're running from appointment to appointment, but make time to fill this paperwork out. Whatever that looks like, however you work, if you need one day or if you do it at the end of the day or beginning of the day every single day, whatever works, just make it work. Progress notes, as a home supervisor, it would drive me bonkers when I would get progress notes from foster parents that said the exact same thing every single month. Progressing well, no concerns. Or doing well in school, no concerns. Or, just kind of real brief and just not heartfelt. We want record of your hard work. We know you're doing it. We need you to record it. And also, it's good because if you're recording it accurately to the progresses and the concerns that you're seeing each month, it's really good because when you go back and you can reflect on those things, especially in those moments when it is so challenging, when maybe your 3-year-old foster kiddo is having their 5th meltdown for the day, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I just don't feel like I'm doing anything, I'm making any efforts or making any progress with this kiddo. You are. It's just hard to see it. When you're in the battle every single day, it's hard for you to notice those things. It's kind of like when you have your own kids, and even like when you see them growing, you don't notice the growth as much as maybe like a relative who comes once a month or something. They're like, oh my goodness, you're growing so big and so fast, and you might not notice it because you see them every day. And so it's kind of the same concept, but in a bigger way with their emotional or spiritual progress. It's like you just don't see it because you're in that battle every day. But if you can go back and flip through the progress notes and you're like, oh, I remember when that was an issue and we moved past that, we hurdled that. Oh, that's right. And it kind of is just a nice sense of reminder of the good work you're doing. Okay? Just my piece of advice. All right. Medication log. This is an example of a medication log. I cannot stress enough how important it is that you are being diligent in filling these medication logs out. This is really important, and just to protect you. And so you can see here on the form, there's a part for the child's name, your last name, the month and year of the the medication log. It can break down per medication. This is over-the-counter and prescription medications that are given to the child each month. You'll put the dosage, the exact time in the initial of the foster parent administering the meds. The exact time, it really looks shady to the state if you're putting 8 p.m. across the board for a medication, because we all know we're not that robotic, right? So it could be 8:01, 8:03. The important thing is showing the state that you are actually doing it day by day. This is something you absolutely have to do day by day. Each time you give a medicine, try to be diligent in putting that recording each day. And then in terms of who's administering the meds, the initial, let's say, Stephanie, you are the only one who does it. Jansen's really terrible with administering meds, so he lets you do that. So you're the only one who does it. Then we only need your initial at the top here. We don't need his to turn it in. Does that make sense? But if you're both kind of switching it up and helping out, we both need you to initial it. I'm going to tell you a bit of a scare story, okay? So just to kind of push the point a little further along how important this is, that there's no missed dosage, there's no missed dosage in a sense like you gave the wrong amount, or even that you just missed the medication, which we understand sometimes that happens. Just tell us, be honest and upfront, and it's okay. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But if it's like it happens quite a few times throughout the month, it's going to look pretty bad. So it's important. But all right, so my story is about a kid. Let's say he was 2 and he was medically fragile, and he really had a lot of high needs, and the foster parents who had him in their home was very diligent in their paperwork, very type A personality, and they were very on top of their paperwork, their medication logs and documentations that they got from doctors. And this child ended up passing away in their sleep from SIDS, and because of the medical needs as well, and so it was kind of undetermined as to why. And so the foster dad tried to give CPR to the kid and was not able to be successful in resuscitating. Foster mom was calling ambulance, of course. They were on their way, called us, called caseworker, did everything, went through the tree line that needs to call the person they need to call. Go to the hospital, and then they pronounced him dead, of course, and the homicide detective comes out, takes their house keys, and goes out to take 1 million pictures of the home just to make sure, rule out any homicide. Sounds scary, right? It's terrifying. Worst case scenario. Okay, so then they go to the home, they take 1 million pictures of the crib. There's a wedge in the crib that was prescribed by the doctor, and then there was no bumpers in it, which is good because it's not recommended. Bumpers are definitely not recommended in cribs because suffocation, SIDS. Anyway, they checked the medication log. They pulled our records. They looked in the family file, and they did a full investigation, and the family was unfounded. I mean, they did everything they needed to do. They were up to date on their CPR first aid certification, so when Dad, he did the CPR resuscitating, he was in compliance. Medication log was done accordingly. We had documentation for anything otherwise. We had documentation for the wedge that was in the crib. We have all doctor forms from any of his appointments. I mean, of course, this was a medically fragile kid, so they had a lot of appointments, but we still had everything, and so they were unfounded. And it was a really sad situation, but it could have been a lot worse had they not been very diligent in their documentation. So it's pretty scary stuff, right? That's a worst case scenario, but I want to push the point home further that this is not to be taken with a grain of salt, that you guys need to be diligent in the paperwork. And if you need an action plan, get with your home supervisor and they'll work with you, okay? Any questions? Okay, so we're going to move on. There's a blank medication log in here for you guys for your records as well.
Oh, even if we don't do medicines, we have...
Oh, yes, thank you for bringing that up. You just put NA across it. And that just shows the state that you just didn't miss a month and we forgot to ask for it. It's that, here it is. Birth family contact record. This is to document any kind of visit that the child has with birth family. The common thing is supervised visitation. We want to see documentation of how the child's doing after the visits, especially if they're struggling. How are they struggling? That shows us when we're advocating on behalf of the child who's in your home, when we're talking to the caseworker, and then sometimes even when it gets to a point of termination, the caseworker may want to see this documentation just to kind of see a pattern and see how the visits have affected the child at that point. Yeah.
So they
actually come to our home for visitation?
No, this supervised visits will take place at a third-party facility. You just have to go home and document it after it's said and done. And then this is per child, so, and then if you want to put sibling group on the same page, you can, or if you want to break it up per child, it's whatever you decide to do. Does that make sense? If there's no contact, you put no contact. Yes, ma'am.
Do we have a choice if we stay at the visit, or we don't?
You can't participate in the visit. You could stay in the building if you'd like, but that's it. Yeah. Other questions? Did you have one? I thought I saw your finger go up. Okay.
So even if the child requests that they can't, like if the child really wants you to be there type of thing, from past experience.
I think it would be one of those things where you talk to the team, but probably not, because that visit is to facilitate the relationship between birth parents and the foster kids to maintain that attachment, right? So if you're there, that could kind of disrupt that whole piece of it. Yeah. But if it becomes like a concern where the kid's like, I don't want to go, then that would need to be addressed with the treatment team as well, just to kind of see what they decide to do. Yes, ma'am. I'm still a little unsure about all the places that they still meet, but my understanding is Family Visitation Center for sure, downtown on Boulder. It's like one of those old Victorian homes. That's a visitation center. DHS here on Garden of the Gods. Have you guys seen that building? It's the big, ugly government building. DMV is also the DHS building. And then I believe maybe still Savio here on Centennial. So there's a couple of different places in town. I'm just not sure. I'm not up to date on that anymore. I'm a little out of the loop. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
What if the parent or parents happen to be incarcerated?
Will they have visits? Sometimes. Yes. Yeah. I don't want to say no, but usually it's no. But sometimes they do. And the judge will court order visits, and so the caseworker will bring the kiddo to the jail. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
How many times do you go and the parent never shows up? Do you just
Whew.
every time, or is there
Well, it happens quite frequently. It can happen. I'm not going to lie. And so with that, the golden rule is 3 no-call, no-shows in a row, and then they lose their visitation rights. However, that has to be court approved. If it becomes an issue, what you'll see is they have to 1 hour call ahead or show ahead, and then they cancel visits. Yes, ma'am.
So a no-show would be suggested for us to wait around a little bit to make sure that they show up. So the child's not waiting there without.
Yeah, it's like 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, they cancel it. Okay. So and usually our foster parents don't stray too far anyway. Usually it's out and about, and you just go run some errands, or you guys come to Hope and Home and have your other kids play on the playground or something just to pass the time. So you're not too far anyway. But yeah, I mean, after 15 minutes, they'll call you and say, come and get them. They didn't show up. Good questions. Other ones?
Who's supervising them?
They're trained visitation supervisors that are trained by DHS to do that. And they're documenting as they do it, like behaviors and the interactions and everything.
That's not someone the child has seen before necessarily, though.
I'm sorry?
It's not someone the child has seen before necessarily.
No, not necessarily. I mean, once visits are established, it's probably going to be the same visitation supervisor. Typically, they work kind of consistent hours.
So what we're writing at the bottom is how they reacted after?
Yeah.
We're not going to be there observing.
Yeah, it'll be how they react after. Like if they have a meltdown, or if they're really quiet, or if they're lethargic. Okay. All right. Moving right along. Oh, we're already in section 4. Okay, this is ongoing medical stuff. Anything that's recommended after all these initial appointments, right? So if they, get sick, or need some kind of procedure. This is an ongoing medical form here. You'll see a place where it's the information, and your doctor is supposed to be filling this out, okay? Reason for visit, diagnosis, recommended follow-ups, even medication prescribed. We need documentation of any prescriptions that you have. Obviously, best practice, we love it when you give us copies of the leaflets. Like, it's just like golden to us. But if worst case scenario, if the doctor, he or she is documenting it on here, medication prescribed, and they're being particular about the dosage and how often, then that's sufficient. Does that make sense? And I know that you guys are gonna not remember to bring these forms every time you go to the doctor, so my suggestion is whichever cars that you use to transport kids in, have a little folder with blank copies of these just ready to go in there. But worst case scenario, the doctor will print up a summary of the doctor's appointment, right? There's summaries they can print up for you, and then that's sufficient as well.
What's the golden leaflet of which you speak?
Oh, when you go and you get prescriptions filled and you take them home, they come with like the little leaflets that break it down, like, yeah, in the bag, yep. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Can those like the picture and send to you guys? Will you work or?
Of the form?
Form or
the leaflet?
Yeah.
Picture is great. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up because you guys are all tech savvy, I'm assuming. Everyone has a smartphone of some sort, right? Any flip phoners?
I did for a while.
No. Yeah, I know. I was so disappointed when I had to get rid of my flip phone. I was like, I guess I gotta just age up. Anyway, all right. So there's an app called CamScan app. Have you guys heard of it? It's really awesome. It's amazing. You can take a picture of this form and see how there's like a shadow on it. It will take the shadow away and convert it into a PDF, and you can email it straight from your phone. And so that's, to me, like just a godsend. And it's amazing. And so just when you're on the go, just snap a picture of it and send it to us.
So you guys do take everything electronically?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. If you're old school and you want to write it all out, that's totally fine too. Oh, I was going to mention too, now that we're talking about it, so everything's pretty much handwritten in terms of the monthly paperwork, except there are digital forms you can submit for monthly progress notes and the birth family contacts. You can do those digitally online. And so if you go to our website and you find helpful downloads for foster parents, under that is a list of all the forms you can print, but at the top is the digital forms where you can do it for the progress notes and the birth family contact. Okay. Yes, sir.
Most doctors that the foster kids can go to, are they all pretty familiar with all these forms that they're supposed to fill out?
No, probably not. In fact, I would expect you guys to really pull out the mama and papa bear in you when you go see these Medicaid providers and make sure they're actually filling out the forms correctly, because especially the physicals, because they can get kind of laxed and not filling it out and just kind of like just mark it through, like can't even what are you even saying about their eyes right now? Like, can you show me that you care? Like, don't be afraid to let that mama and papa bear come out. Okay. Yeah. Well, whatever, do your job. Yeah. Yeah. All right, moving on. Annual physical exam. You can use this form, or you can use the initial physical form if you have that kid in your home the next year. It's up to you. This is just the kind of a follow-up. So physicals have to be done every single year, right? Do what? Once a year, right? Dental cleanings and checkups are done every 6 months. That's pretty consistent for anyone, really, right? Right, Doc? Yep. Okay. Thank you. And vision is once a year. If it's recommended and they have to get glasses, it's once a year. Okay?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So for these different things that are like once a month or once a year, is that per calendar month, or is it per calendar year, or is it within 365 days? So let's say we get a kid on like February 20th and the caseworker comes to the house on March 5th and they're like, oh, you haven't done one for March yet? Are we delinquent? Is it
Are you talking about the monthly paperwork?
any paperwork that has a periodicity requirement? Is it by from the time
It's just
they came in?
that month. Like, so just the month. It's not like March 5th and by April 5th you do, just that month. And then in terms of the medical stuff, it's, whatever Medicaid will not cover a physical until it's been at least a year and a day past that. Like if they had a physical on February 5th, 2018, they won't let you schedule it until February 6th, 2019.
Okay.
Just like that, yep.
This is changing topics, but do you guys have any kind of data on like how often or how long kids are in homes?
No, there's no consistency there. It varies across the board. Yeah. Other questions? Okay, moving on. This is the dental form. So it looks pretty much the exact same as the initial dental form. It is important that you guys follow up in a very timely manner with any kind of recommendations doctors have and dentists have. So if a dentist is telling you this kid needs fillings, schedule it sooner rather than later. Don't wait like months. Lord, don't do that.
Are there co-pays with these benefits?
Now, if there's any cost that they expect, like sometimes if there's dental procedures that end up costing and then Medicaid sends you a bill, you take that to your caseworker and they will take it. Rarely happens, but sometimes it does, and then you just take it to the caseworker and DHS will cover that cost. But there should never be any co-pays with Medicaid.
Do you fill out one of these every dental visit?
Yes. Yep.
What if we use this exactly? Do you guys have more of these? Like if we have it in the car and we only have the one, are these forms on your website?
Yes, they are on the website. So you can get them from our website. You can copy this because this is your master copy, right? Or you could ask your home supervisor to bring you blank copies. Or, worst case scenario, you get a printout, a summary of the appointment from your doctor. Okay. Vision form is the exact same. Oh gosh, we got to update this form, but it will be new and improved soon enough. But this is our vision form. It looks the same exact as the initial vision. Any questions about any of this? Is your head spinning yet? Okay, what time is it? Okay, 6:45. Okay, we're going to get through this section and then we're going to take a quick break and then come back and do a quiz. It'll be fun. It'll be a class participation quiz, okay? Like battle of the sex style. What'd you say?
I said, if you don't pass, you can't adopt her.
Nope, you can't. Nope. You'll be done. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, section 5. This section is incident reporting. This is another form you can fill out in PDF style online as well, which is nice because you're probably going to do a whole bunch of these. So incident reports any kind of incident has to be reported within 24 hours to your home supervisor. So get these forms to them within 24 hours. That's where the CamScam app comes in handy, or you can do this digitally. Take a look at this form and let me know what questions you have, because I know you're probably going to have some.
So, my question basically is that if somehow our furniture or something in the house is slightly damaged, is that what it's saying? It's not even just a picture.
No, these are if they hurt themselves on furniture or something like that.
You're saying what happened with that? Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
If we get a little one that's just learning to walk, do we have to do that for every time they
Bruise, scratch, nick. Yep.
Any mark.
So it's not
Yes.
Make a lot of copies.
I'm sorry, Katie. What was that?
So it's not just like when they fall down or get bumped.
It's if there's a mark of any sort. And really, guys, this is for your protection. When these kids go to the visits with their birth parents, and the birth parents, they get super vigilant on noticing these things. And so if they're like, why do they always come with scratches and bruises and they're 2 and they're maybe they're learning to walk. I mean, this is really for your protection. Just shows like, well, if the visitation supervisor is reporting to the caseworker, who is then reporting to your home supervisor, that parents have concerns that you are abusing their child, or they're wondering and they're concerned about all these marks, then we'll say, well, we have incident reports. They tell us all the time, anytime there's a mark, and so we can show you those things. Yeah.
I'll ask a dumb question, but
There's no dumb question.
let's say I foster a little girl and she has a rash on her private area.
Hmm.
I mean, am I able, because I'm the opposite sex, am I able to put cream on her rash?
Well, yeah. I mean, you're a foster dad. You're a dad. You do those things. Now, if it's a concern, if you have a child who comes to you and they've been sexually abused by their uncle or their dad, you and Erin need to probably have an action plan. Maybe she's the only one who changes diapers in that manner.
How much is disclosed when we get?
We will tell you anything we know.
Do you tell us as you find it out?
Oh, yeah. Yes, for sure. And the same thing goes on your end, too. In this incident report, like if a kid is getting comfortable in your home and they disclose to you that any kind of abuse they've experienced, and you're not really sure that you've heard this before, so you check with your home supervisor or caseworker to see if they know this, then you will report it if there's an allegation that might not be known. If it's known information, we don't need you to document it, but if it's not known, you'll document it.
Or if we just have a suspicion from certain behaviors and stuff, we might want to.
You talk to your home supervisor about that. You don't put it on an incident report. Talk to them and say, hey, this has come up. If they're older kids and they are in therapy, you could talk to the therapist as well. Kind of mention those things and put together an action plan. Yeah. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I know sometimes I just remember as a kid I would get bruises all the time,
and you don't know where it comes from. Yes.
So if we see things like that, do we just write it as an incident report and say unknown?
Yeah. Yeah, if they're little and they can't speak for themselves, you say, I'm not sure what happened. They're a baby, they can't tell me. If there's a lot of that being reported, and we would be concerned about you properly supervising, so then we would need to talk a little further about that. If they're older kids and they're going to school and they get bruises and they come home, a lot of it's silly. It's kind of funny whenever we see the incident reports, but it says foster parent asked so-and-so, how did you get the bruise on your left knee? They said, I don't know. I said, okay. Yeah.
We can say it's school, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you say it happened at school, or I think it happened at school. Yes.
So like every day they come back, wait, let me see what you got. Oh, new scratch.
Yeah, let's do
Yes.
stand down before shower tonight.
I don't want you guys to be so paranoid that you're doing that inspection every day, but if you're noticing things, do document it. Okay. Okay. I'm glad you guys are taking it lightly to heart right now, and then I trust you're going to really implement it later. But taking it lightly right now is great.
This part would not happen, but what happened if runaway kids?
Oh, runaway?
Procedure and what do you...
Well, you'll always, any kind of crisis, you will be calling us. We have on-call phone 24/7, which we'll talk about in next week's class, actually. But yeah, you'll call us and say, oh my gosh, they ran away. What do I do? Your home supervisor will come. I once chased a kid through a neighborhood. They ran from me at school, and that was an all-day affair. Then I took them to BJ's Velvet Freeze, and we ate together afterwards, and it was fine. But still, it was quite an ordeal, But your home supervisor is there with you, kind of helping you, and then they'll let the caseworker know or whatever needs to happen.
Okay, so
Yeah.
just call them first and...
Call us. Yep. Yep.
Not the police or anybody.
No, well, I mean, it just depends. I mean, it depends on the circumstance, yeah. But definitely call your home supervisor first.
Okay.
Yep. Other questions? Because there's something else I'm going to tell you guys about this incident report. Okay. Okay. So, something that a lot of us, especially those who have parented 5 kids, because there's a lot of you in here, something that's not normal that you would do with your own kids that you have to do with foster kids is that anytime a kid hits their head, a foster kid hits their head, you have to take them to get checked. You are not a doctor, you're not a medical professional. You cannot make the call that they don't have a concussion. The reason this is implemented, I mean, as we go through this class and you're like, holy cow, these are a lot of rules and things that are like, this is a lot of extra. These are rules for a reason. So there are things that have happened in the past that the state has made it a requirement now. So just remember that. And so I know it's really unfortunate. Luckily these days there's urgent care on almost every corner, almost all of them of some sort. They do accept Medicaid, and so yeah.
A concussion protocol though is just watch them. There's not really
right, but
but it's
yeah.
just that official documentation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So just something.
Even know that they had, I mean, what do they do? The next year? How do they know they have a concussion or not?
I'm not sure exactly what all they do. I don't know. I'm not. No. No. I'm sure they do their testing of the lights and then, their hand and kind of check their head and ask if they've thrown up or tell you to keep them awake. But the thing is the medical professionals telling you that. Which reminds me, actually, now that we kind of flew through the medical stuff, I feel like, but something that I didn't mention. So when you have a kid in your home and you're taking them to emergency room, if they've broken an arm or they need stitches or anything, remember how I was mentioning you have to get permission for any kind of anesthesia or like anything invasive, including stitches. Stitches are one of those things. The kids are probably going to need stitches if there's. Oh yeah, that's true. They do glue. Yeah. No. Yeah, the stitches are a little different. So with that, when you're going to the emergency room anyway, regardless, you need to be calling your home supervisor, keeping them in the loop along the way. Even if they're running a high fever and you're just thinking they have the flu or something, still call your home supervisor, or who's on call if it's after hours. You'll call the on-call phone, right? And let them know, keep them in the loop. We will go to the hospital and be with you. If there's an emergency, we will be there with you. That's what we're here for. But if there's extra things that need to happen, we want to let you know what those things are. Things that happen behind the scenes on our end. It's why important that you keep us in the loop along the way. So if you're going to an emergency room and you're like, oh, I think they're just going to need stitches. They were clumsy and they did this. All right, well, I have to get permission from the caseworker. So I will work on calling them, or if you can call them, or however you guys work it out with your home supervisor. You're calling whoever needs to know. Yes, sir. No. They're different. So you will talk about all this next week. But what you should know now, your home supervisor is your liaison from Hope and Home. We are here for you and advocating on behalf of you and the child in your home. So we're the ones to ensure that you're following all the rules and the regulations, right? We're the ones here who will go to the hospital if you are there. And to walk you through those things, your emotional and professional support, right? Your caseworker is the one from DHS, the county, and they are the ones who facilitate the reunification goal. So they're the ones who are there to kind of help that along, but they need to be kept in loop because technically the kids, though they are in your home, they're in the custody of the county, so they have to know what's going on with the kid at all times. Does that make sense? Cool? Yes.
So I guess a true emergency, like life, limb, or eyesight type of thing, I mean, is an emergency room doc really going to wait until they get permission?
That was the point I was going to get at, actually. So you're making your effort, we're making our effort to contact the caseworker. Let's say the caseworker cannot be contacted, especially in a timely manner. The doctor can overrule and make that decision on behalf of what they feel medically is best for that child. We have to do our due diligence, right? As foster parents and as agency, we do our due diligence of trying to contact the appropriate parties to get that consent. And if it's not obtained in a timely manner, then the doctor can overrule it. Now, me saying that does not give you permission to just kind of be like, well, I called my home supervisor and that was it. Like, no, we have to at least try to call the caseworker and get that permission. But if you get to the hospital and the doctor's like, and you tell them, we're waiting for consent within however long, you haven't heard back from us, then we can go forward. Or if the doctor's super concerned, like, we can't wait, we need to do this now, they can make that ruling. Okay?
So we'll have them sign the paper, or just say that they take over?
My belief is that they will document it on the summary as well. Other questions? Okay. This last form here is just a breakdown of what needs to be reported to the health department. We just want you guys to be aware of it. So when you take kids to the doctor, typically the doctor will report these things, other healthcare professionals. The thing that's specific to you guys are animal bites, like dogs, your dog. That's what I'm talking about. Like cats too, yeah. If you have a pet bat and skunk and fox and raccoon, we'll talk. But generally, that's the doctor. It's a huge deal if your animal breaks skin. And a lot of us have talked during our tours. You know, a lot of you actually have been diligent in asking, well, we have a dog. Is that okay? What do we need? You know, it's fine if your dog's not aggressive. They've been known to be aggressive and they will bite and break skin. This is why we ask, are they aggressive? Because if they turn around and if a kid doesn't know proper gentle touch and you're still trying to teach them and they're pulling like on a tail, or maybe they rough pet a dog and then the dog turns around and is quick to bite them and break skin, we have to report it to the health department. We do an incident report to the state, and then you have to quarantine your dog, and that costs you money. Even if they have rabies shots on file, we still have to do all of this. So we want you to be aware of that. Any concerns about your pets that I need to be aware of? Anyone? And you can talk to me after class too. You don't need to blurt it out loud. Okay? Did you have
It's crazy. Our youngest dog, he's aggressive sounding, but he's not actually aggressive. He's a big scaredy cat. He will never.
Okay.
Well, when it comes to like our home study and stuff, like he does bark initially when people come in. Is that going to be a problem?
No.
Okay.
Nope. All right, we're going to take a break, but any last minute questions? Are your, do what?
Cat scratches? Like
No, bites. All right. Well, thanks for hanging in there. Let's take a quick break. About, what do you think? 5 or 10 minutes? What do you guys want? 5? Any other votes? All right, 5 minutes it is. 7:05, we'll get started back. And when you come back, we're going to separate men on one side, women on the other.
Segregation.
Yes. really, yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Who's a fast rider over here? Fast rider man. We need a man who can write fast.
I can scribble pretty quick.
Okay, great. As long as it's legible in some manner. A woman fast rider. Fast rider woman.
Horrible writer.
Just letters though. Okay.
You can't wait my writing.
All right. So you guys might want to turn around and kind of create a huddle, and then pull your quiz. Quiz here. You see, this is a quiz. Each family has one, and then your volume 7 rules and regulations. So at least have one of these. At least one. What? Here you go. Okay. Let me see something. Oh, no. So, here's the thing. You guys can use your Volume 7 Rules and Regulations to refer to as we go through these questions. So we're going to do men versus women. I will ask the question. You are not allowed to write on the board until I finish asking the question. Then you can throw it up. What are some other rules? I think that's really it. What do you win? Pride. You win pride. Okay? All right. So, oh goodness. Guess what? I don't have my answer key. You guys are going to have to hang tight for a minute. Just look over the questions, and then I'll be back. All right, everyone, I'm back. Are you ready? Okay. Are you guys ready? Whew. All right. Number 1. How many foster children can be placed in a foster home? D. Women got it. It's 4.
You guys aren't even. Jeez.
Where does it say 4 on this page?
D4, there.
F-O-U-R?
Okay.
I don't see any pictures on these books.
So I gotta pull up so I can be able to give people points. All right. So women got that point. All right, number 2. How many total children can be in a foster home, including biological, adopted, and foster children? B, 8. 8 children. You guys, you're looking into volume 7, right? Like you can. Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay. Number 3. What is the minimum? Do what? Women, because they got it. They threw it up first.
Oh, it's one of those. Our pen doesn't work.
It doesn't? It does? Are you playing with me, Dylan?
Nope, wouldn't do that.
Well, do you need another pen? I think. Here. Take this one.
More than I need to
There you go. Just give it to you. Okay. All right, where are we? Number 3. What is the minimum age for a foster parent?
21.
Women got it, 21.
Oh.
Okay. So even though you can't write the answer yet, you can look ahead a little bit, okay? Okay.
We're focused on learning.
Well, great. I like hearing that. Number 4. Can a foster parent smoke cigarettes in the home or in close proximity of a foster child?
No.
B.
That
Yes.
was written before you got done.
No, it was not.
Because you weren't even done talking and she was scolding.
No, I was watching. Okay. Number 5. A foster parent and any person living in the home must complete a physical in order to be certified. Men got it.
Yeah!
You're on the board. Congratulations.
Are you not supposed to write on these?
You can if you want. This is for your record. Yeah.
We heard that and I'm like, wait, what?
Do I need to go back so you guys can record everyone? Do you want to? You're already doing it. Okay, good. All right, number 5. Wait. Oh my goodness. We just asked that. So 6. Yeah, 6. Oh my goodness. The backyard of a foster home must be fully fenced or have an unfenced yard safety plan. True or false? Women threw it up first. Sorry, guys. You guys are getting it, though. You're getting it. 7. If a foster parent owns weapons or firearms of any kind, they must be secured behind a locked container with ammunition stored in a separate locked container. Women, sorry. I saw it first. Yes.
Make the letters small. Maybe you're going too big.
Yeah, maybe you're going to. All right, 8. What is the policy on unfinished basements in a foster home? C. Women got it. C. Unfinished basements must be inaccessible to foster children if safety hazards are present. Number 9. What are the requirements if a basement bedroom will be used by a foster child? B. Oh man, that was.
It looks like a B.
It looks like a B. It looks like a heart. It's like. All right. 10. There shall be a minimum of blank square feet of space per each child in the bedroom. Yeah, it's A.
Or 40.
You wrote. Okay. Well, you threw it down. I didn't know what you were like. You were changing your mind. All right. 11. What does a foster home need in order to have a swimming pool, hot tub, pond, and or a fountain? Men got it. C. A written safety plan, permission from the agency, and possibly an inspection by the county or state Department of Health. Guys, as we answer these, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to stop me. Let's answer them, okay?
Can I just have a copy of your answer key?
I can send that to you, but not right now. Okay.
I mean, not now. I mean, later.
Later, yeah. Yeah, I could do that. Okay. All right. What does a foster home need in order to have a trampoline? You're both wrong. Yes, it's C. All right. 13. The entire premises of a foster home is subject to inspection for certification purposes, including but not limited to the home residence, the grounds surrounding the home, the basement, the attic, and any storage buildings and garage. I forgot what the answer was. Yeah, as men threw it up first. It's A. A, everybody. 14. The foster home must be free of fire hazard and accumulation of non-essential items. A, men threw it up.
I'm slowing down.
15. What is the policy on the use of well water rather than city water in a foster home? Women got it. It's B. The water must be tested once a year for compliance with water quality requirements. 16. A foster child can be in the care of an uncertified adult if... Women got it. It's D. Everyone gets that wrong. Great. It's D.
Oh, it is.
Put that one in there.
17. If a foster child needs overnight care... D again, women. Good job. All of the above. 17. If a foster child needs overnight care... Wait, we already asked that. Sorry. Sorry about that. Gosh, my brain. 18. A foster child cannot be placed in respite care for more than blank consecutive days a month and cannot exceed...
Disqualified.
I'm taking a point away. I didn't even finish. I'm taking a point away. No, I was trying to fix it. Then I'm getting back to the question. All right. So now, all right. A foster child cannot be placed in a respite care for more than blank consecutive days a month and cannot exceed blank days in a calendar year. Women got it. Let's see. Okay. All right, guys. 19. Outdoor activity must be available to each foster child each day, weather permitting. A. Men got it. All right. 20. A foster child must be provided with 2 sheets and 1 blanket. Bedding should be changed or washed at least every other week. Women got it. It's B, actually. It's false. It has to be washed every week. Yes.
Every other week. We're going to do it.
I know.
This kid's going to be looking, and my kids are going to be like, what is going on? Listen, I can't go to jail.
All right. 21. Until what age can a foster child stay in a parent's master bedroom in their own crib? Women got it. C. 18 months, everybody. 18 months. However, can someone tell me the however? Sometimes you can file a waiver for the child to stay in your room past 18 months if they have medical needs. Severe medical needs, like a G-tube or something. Okay? All right, 22. Any child in the home cannot share a bedroom with the opposite sex if they are over the age of 4. Men got it. It's true.
What about sibling groups?
Nope.
Because even with written permission, that's in the guidelines.
Nope. That's, what does it say? What does it say?
Sex that are over the age of 4 years and share bedrooms shall do so only with the written approval of the certifying authority and the county.
Oh, interesting. I'm gonna make that correction on here. Okay, hold on. We're gonna add an additional thing to that.
We still got the point.
You did, because it's according to the... Okay, hold on.
So it's changed now?
Written permission past that.
Written permission by the C?
By the caseworker. Yeah. Yep. Interesting. Good to know. 23. A bedroom for a child under the age of 5 shall be in close proximity to the foster parent's bedroom. Just say, men threw it up first.
A.
So, did I say A or did I say B? I think I said A, right? It's A. A is the right answer. Okay. Okay, 24. How many children under the age of 2 can reside in a foster home? B, 2. The exception to that, if you can tell me this, you get 2 points.
Triplets.
All right, Mitt.
Yes.
Twins, triplets, siblings, if they have no other option. All right. 25. Infants must be held during all bottle feedings. A. True. That is true. Wait, who threw it?
We did. Man.
Okay.
We totally had it up there.
I don't know what to do. I'm really dilemma. We're going to do this. Okay. Guys, sorry. All right. I'm focused. All right. 26. What is the policy on potty training a child in foster care? B. Potty training should not begin before the age of 18 months. Do I?
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's in the rule. All right, 27. If a foster child's preferred religion is different than yours, you must provide opportunities and assistance for involvement in the religious practice of their choosing.
Man.
That was pretty. I think paper, rock, scissors. Right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait. You go. 1, 2, 3. Go. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Go.
Husband, wife.
Ah.
Yeah.
We should have somebody else do it.
Next time we don't match them, right? Yes. Okay. Okay. Where are we? 28. Okay. A foster child may be invited to join the foster family in attending church. However, they must never be forced or coerced. Men threw it up.
So, a question about that. So,
Yeah.
So, if the child is Jehovah's Witness, then we have to accept Jehovah's Witness.
You just have to accommodate their needs. Yeah. Well, but then they have to be supervised, and you have to be, yep, in some sense, unless there's some kind of plan that can be implemented.
That's fine.
Yeah. I'm sorry?
If they ask to go?
Yeah.
They never bring it up.
If parents bring it up, but if the child,
So we go to a synagogue or a mosque.
Yeah, I think there's got to be a way to accommodate, and if we can't, if our family can't, then we have to find a family, or the caseworker has to find a family who can.
Would that be said before the child placed or after the child placed?
We try to find that stuff out ahead of time, but there's no guarantee, to be honest. Where are we? 29. A foster child must receive permission from biological family or guardian to participate in any religious ceremonies. This includes baptism and dedications.
Guys.
Yeah. You're both right. It's A. Sorry. I need to answer that for the camera. Okay. 30. Efforts should be made to involve a foster child in extracurricular activities at school and in the community. That was a tie. Paper, rock, scissors. But yes, okay. Listen, Mike.
Okay.
You're medium.
All right.
Oh, Jedi mind game.
What is happening?
Got him.
All right. Good job. That was great. Okay. Okay. 31. A Hope and Home family with foster children placed with them must make reasonable efforts to be involved in activities at Hope and Home. True or false? True. Efforts should be made. It's not a requirement, but yeah. 32. You cannot assign chores to any child in foster care. True or false? False. Whew, men. Come on. 33. At least blank nourishing, well-balanced meals a day should be provided to foster children. No more than blank hours shall elapse between evening and morning meals. C. 3 and 14. Thanks. Okay. 34. Nourishing snacks should be made available in addition to meal times. A, men got it. True. 35. A foster child does not want to eat the food provided. If a foster child does not want to eat a food provided at a meal, at least one more option should be presented. True. Men or women threw it up first. 36. A foster home cannot serve home canned foods. That's true. They can't.
So nothing that's canned.
Well, from the store, but if you home canned, like yeah.
Home canned.
Yes. Yep. Can someone tell me why?
Yes.
Can someone tell me why?
Because it's not safety.
Well, what's a common thing with home canned food? Botulism. Or is it botulism or E. coli? Botulism. Yes. Yeah. Yep. 37. It is acceptable for foster children to share clothing with other children of the same size in the foster home as long as the clothing is washed after each use. It's false. They can share, but they must have their own wardrobe. So this is wording in a sense that, it's kind of a trick question, it's wording in a sense that they could share a wardrobe and then they just, as long as it's washed, it's fine. But they have their own, they can share if they want. Yeah. That was a bit of a trick question. 38. It is the foster family's responsibility to provide transportation to all medical appointments, therapy appointments, and visitation appointments. Men threw it up first, it's true. We're almost done, y'all. 2 more questions. Each foster parent is required to complete blank hours of ongoing training each certification year. You're both wrong. Men threw it up. B, it's 20.
One of them.
All right. 40. Training on emergency and safety procedures should be completed blank each certification year. B, women got it. It's twice a year. All right, well, let's add them up. Okay, so 10, 15, 20, 25. All right, men 14, women 25.
40 questions, and that's only 39.
Yeah, I took a point away. All right. Okay, so this is pretty much the completion of the class. At this point, I'm going to hang out up here and I'm going to answer any questions you have. I need you guys to fill out, review these forms I was telling you about if you haven't already. The allowance agreement, child abuse reporting, and discipline policy. Okay? Thank you guys.